Hello, guys. Welcome to Echoes with Ekaette. I'm back today for another girl chat, and today we'll be talking about career changes, and generally the reason or the reasons why people stick to a certain career, whether it's out of convenience or just it being their passion. So I'm here today with my beautiful friend, and we'll be doing this girl chat together because she's a typical example of this scenario or this situation that we're going to be talking about. She's a typical example of it. So I'll let her introduce herself. So can we get to know you?
Yeah. So, hello guys. My name is Yubi. Yubi is a short name of a longer name. It's Ubobo.
She's my sister.
um, I moved to England, I think in 2012. Been in England since then. Dabbled in a lot of career here and there, a lot of things. um, I think I finally settled for something that I know I absolutely love and I absolutely adore.
Okay.
Doing. So yeah, that's a bit of me.
So the question is not what you've done, the question is what have you not done yet? Just tell us.
Honestly,
tell us which career have you not ventured into yet?
I don't know, to be honest.
She's been everything.
I've been everything, to be honest, and I think I got it from my dad. I moved to England. My first job, I worked as a cleaner for my dad. He owned, my dad and my stepmom owned a cleaning company, so I worked as a cleaner. And then I got a job with Sports Direct. So I worked as a retail assistant.
Okay.
From there, I got a scholarship where with Hammersmith Freehills in London. So I was doing work experience. I've worked with Goldman Sachs and I've done an internship with Goldman Sachs, and I worked with Hammersmith Freehills. It's a law firm.
Okay.
And doing all of that, I was still in college. And then I worked as a care assistant, work experience in college. And then left there, moved to Leeds and worked, obviously continued working in Sports Direct, obviously to make money and also study.
Okay.
I studied law at University of Leeds, finished that. I was like, what do I want to do? I worked at Cold Credit, which is now TransUnion, but I worked I think admin work with but finance. So in the finance side of things, they were doing a new project, so they needed administrators to do the menial jobs.
Okay.
After that, I moved back to London. I worked as a property manager.
Okay.
For a small investment company, and then from there, when I had a baby, I moved out of London.
Okay.
Became like an administrator in a estate agency. Then moved, became a property manager again. And then while I was in my, I've had a baby, I was having those baby blues. I was like, you know what? I think at this point, I'm at a stage where, working shouldn't be all about money. It should become a passion thing.
Yeah.
So while working as a property manager, I was just failing everything. All the things that I'd known, all the experience that I'd had was just not, it wasn't kicking in,
Yeah.
It wasn't happening for me. I wasn't happy. So I met a friend of mine who introduced me. She was like, oh, care. I was like, care. What is really going on? What's the buzz of care?
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what, let me try. Let's see what's going on.
Okay.
And when I started working in care, a lot of people were like giving me good advice. Like the patients that I met were just, they absolutely adored and loved me. When you go to a package and you go somewhere and someone's like, oh, this person is not great, this patient is not great, you need to be careful. Their experiences were never my experiences.
Yeah, and it turns out that you're experiencing something different.
Yeah, I was experiencing, so, and why I went into care, why I decided to go into care, so when I moved to England, in Nigeria, you're either a science student and an art student.
Yeah.
I've always had this, I wasn't decisive. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was both.
Yeah, that was my experience. Completely my experience.
And
Yeah.
so I
Just
did the science subject. I was really good at the science subject. It was when I was in SS3. Mind you, I spent 6 years in boarding school. I would only come home for holidays. Now, I was a science student, but also towards the end, I decided, I wanted to do art. Maybe because at that time, my partner now we were together, so like I knew, like he was a lawyer, was going to be a lawyer, so we would
Okay.
always having conversations. I was like,
Okay.
what you're doing in
Oh, so
university?
say no more.
What are you doing in university? Sounds interesting. Let me do. Let's look at it.
Yeah.
And then I did the art in YX, but I did better in science.
Yeah.
So I was going to I wanted to be a doctor when I came here, but you know what? My YX wasn't
Didn't.
meet the pie, and one thing I would say is that in Nigeria at the time you just need they would say, oh, you just need to get a C. I don't think they were having the conversations of you need to have A's.
Yeah.
Like here when I came here I would speak to you hear my dad talk, you need to have A's, you need to have it. Back in Nigeria it was more like get your C and get out.
Yeah,
You
because
know
the
what?
C's weren't exactly easy to
Yeah, they're
get,
like, oh, you just need credits and then
Mm-hmm.
you can go. But when I came here, and then the whole discussion was absolutely different. Um, and I couldn't go into medicine. I did want to go into nursing, but that was like, it's a diploma. I've paid all those school fees. Why do you want to go into? Why do you want a diploma? You need a degree, you
Okay.
know. And then I wanted to do research, but because I was doing biomedical science in college when I got here, and I wanted to do either nursing or engineering. But I was like, research. What do you want to do with research? And again, I think it comes to the conversation of parents being very much aware of what is out there so that they can advise their children
Yeah.
appropriately. Because
Yeah.
I think if there was a lot of conversations, if there was a lot of information about career, I think I would have actually made the right choice. Even though I made the right choice, I studied law, I enjoyed it. Even though I wasn't great at law, studying law. I did struggle because it wasn't something I was very strong at. It's
Yeah.
completely new to me. I think if I was in the science, biology, and all that, anything at science, I would absolutely excel in it.
Okay.
But I came out of it. And I did how I could, and came out of it. Currently, I'm actually studying nursing.
Yeah.
And that conversation came when I had a baby, and I would take my child to A&E, and they just drop paracetamol. Oh, Calpol, just give your daughter Calpol, she'll be fine. And I'm thinking, what do you mean that I give her Calpol? What's this Calpol?
Oh,
Why should I give her Calpol?
Yeah.
I said this child is sick. You're telling me to give her Calpol.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And at that time, my friend had talked about care. I said, what? I want to know what's going on in care. I want to know what's going on in healthcare. I want to be knowledgeable. I want to be able to advocate for myself. So what I did was, okay, if I'm going to go do nursing that I wanted to do, I want to know what the job is about.
Yeah.
So that's when I said, okay, for me to go into nursing, I need to know, is it what I want? Because I wasn't going to make that same mistake twice, doing something that I did not love, know. So I worked as a care assistant, and I absolutely enjoyed it, when you go on YouTube and they say, oh, you're cleaning someone's bum, it's not like that.
Thing is, you actually enjoy
You
that kind of job, because the way you talk about it, you talk about it with so much excitement,
Absolutely.
with so much. So that tells me that it's kind of like your passion.
Yeah,
So all of that which you did led you somehow
to where
you are now.
Yeah,
to your passion.
So it's not like that, When you think about care, you think about the patient that you're caring for. Cleaning their bum, it's not like that, the way care has been painted, it's not the way it's happening. People are having real health issues, and they need people like myself and other people out there who are great carers. They do a lot of work behind the scenes to help vulnerable adults or elderly people to actually live normal daily living, do normal life, as we who are fortunate to have our legs and everything working for us. So once I did that and I absolutely enjoyed it, I said, okay, I'll go do nursing, and it's been great so far, but I think I would have preferred doing it without having a child. because
before
having a child,
Okay.
because it would have made my life so easy. I think have more concentration. Having a child, and studying, I absolutely love people who do it, but I don't think it's something that in my next life I would want to study and have a child. I don't think I want to do that, but absolutely, that's what I'm doing now, and hopefully by God's grace I should be graduating next year.
That's good.
And
Good.
I'm get my PIN and become a full-time nurse. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with career changes and just doing different things, what you described is exactly, or I would say it's exactly my experience. I was a science student, but I was better in the arts. Everyone knows, or most people know that
you love to read.
I love to read. I love to write. I started doing poetry quite early. I think I was maybe 10 or 11 when I started doing stuff like that. But because my mom is a teacher, or she used to teach in the classroom, not anymore, but then she's once a teacher, always a teacher, right?
Absolutely.
So she taught English and literature in school.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of that, but whatever the case, I just naturally gravitated towards that part. I was really good with stuff like that. But you know the way Nigeria is, I'm not going to blame it on parents or anything. It's just the way Nigeria is, where you're being advised to study because it's really competitive. If you have people having 3-4 master's degrees, PhDs, and all of this is to try to get better opportunities, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So every parent back in Nigeria would advise you, do something. Maybe it's changed now, maybe, but back then it's like, if you're not a doctor, if you're not an engineer,
a lawyer,
then you're not successful, or you're not making
your parents
proud.
have nothing to brag about, basically.
Exactly, they have nothing to brag about.
Yeah.
So, and I'm this kind of person that I love a challenge. I love to, even when I knew that I was better in the arts, I wanted to be a science student, because the science students were seen as serious. They were seen as very, bookish.
I was going for competitions, cowbell competition,
Exactly. Yeah.
So, if you're in the sciences, they'll take you out, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be seen as serious. I wanted to, but I always knew what I loved. I was the only student doing literature as a science student, I think, and I graduated best in literature. That just showed that it was just something that I could do naturally. It was something that was very easy for me. I was good in many things. Just like you, I was actually not bad in sciences, to be honest. I wasn't failing to say. I was just an average student in my maths, biology and all of that. I was just average. But when it comes to like the arts or even the social sciences, I was excellent in those. But I just didn't want to take the bold step to go and study that.
I think also for me, I would have been bad, but shout out to my mom. She did really great for me. I remember in secondary school, my mom would pay extra lessons. And I lived with my cousins. Oh, my cousins are fantastic. My uncle was a literature teacher.
Okay.
My uncle had boys, so I lived with my cousins who were men or boys, and they would teach me physics. My dad is absolutely fantastic with chemistry. I was really good at chemistry. My cousins were really good at physics. So when I come back from boarding school, they would sit me down and teach me physics. So I
hated physics with everything. I hated physics. So the irony now is, so someone would ask me, why did you study engineering again? Because I absolutely hated physics. In fact, I struggled through chemistry. I liked it, but I struggled through it. The only thing I liked was biology. So that's why, just like you, I thought I could be a doctor. Like I believed in my heart that I could actually be a doctor. And I'm grateful that it didn't even happen, because that would have been a huge deviation from my life, like from my purpose.
But
how I should have been.
Honestly, it's great. It's great.
But back then, everybody just wanted to be either a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. So coming to, if we even wanted to talk about the parents' influence, it wasn't even much of my parents' influence.
It wasn't much,
It was on you. The onus was on you to try to make your parents proud. So you would find yourself going for those courses that normally you probably would not have gone for, but you're like, what's going to make my parents brag about me? I'm going to become a lawyer. Oh, I'm going to become an engineer. So that was my story as well. I had no business studying petroleum engineering. I don't regret it, because I feel like I gathered some skills that have contributed to who I am and where I'm going.
Yeah.
So I don't regret it. I met awesome people on that path.
Yeah.
I got the opportunity to intern with some of the biggest companies.
Yeah.
I see it as a privilege. And if I wasn't studying that, I would not have had those opportunities. And I'll never take it back for any reason. But I'm just saying that if Nigeria, for example, was a society where you had the boldness to just get up and say, people are doing that, don't get me wrong. But then the popular advice is you need to do something to get you a good job. You need to study something that will get you a good job. So yeah, I was good with writing. I was good with all those things. My mom knew, but she's like, you know what? I don't want you to end up just coming to be doing just like one small, I want you to do big stuff, So she didn't exactly advise me to do engineering, but I took it upon myself because I wanted to make them proud.
Yeah.
So when the opportunity came for me to study petroleum engineering, I chose that. Just like you, when I did my WAEC and all of that, my scores, my grades were good. But for, when you do JAM to enter for medicine.
Yeah, my JAM was
if
great,
your JAM needs to be awesome for medicine, needs to be like extraordinary
yeah.
for medicine. I didn't get to the cutoff point, so that just naturally died. That dream died right there. And I'm happy that it ended there. Yeah. So, and then my mom comes up with the form for Covenant University. She's like, I'm like, because then I still wanted to study medicine. I'm like, there's no medicine in Covenant. Why are you even giving me this form? She said, please choose anything. Don't waste my money. Don't waste my money. Just choose anything. I bought this form, 5,000 naira. Feel anything. I don't care.
Yeah.
So I took it back to the hostel. Then I was in Regina Patches, an all-girls boarding school as well, Catholic school.
Yeah.
So I took it back to the hostel. And my friend, I don't think she remembers this, but she said to me, petroleum engineering. My uncle works in Shell. He is so rich. He lives in Port Harcourt. Anytime we go there, and I said, say no more. Don't go further. Did you say he's rich? Yeah, she's rich. And that's how I filled in petroleum engineering. Because I didn't think I would go to Covenant University.
Yeah.
But I ended up in Covenant University studying petroleum engineering.
Yeah.
That's a summary of my story. And then when my dad heard that I had chosen to study petroleum engineering, he was so excited. He went proud because I'm from an oil producing community.
Yeah.
So, and it was just like a popular saying that you guys don't study the big courses when you go to school. Your children don't go to school enough. So it just made him proud. But in my heart, I knew that this petroleum engineering I'm going for, I don't know, I might struggle, but I didn't care. And because I don't like to fail, I did my best. I struggled through it. It meant that everything that I could do naturally just had to take a pause. I wasn't writing much. I wasn't doing all those things that I used to do that I probably could have, built on, or something that I could have developed on. I put that on hold because I was struggling to do something else. So it just takes me to this topic. The reason why we have this topic is when you choose a career path, is it out of like convenience?
Yeah.
Is it you just doing that to pay your bills? Or is it your passion? I know so many people are in a place where they've got to do what they've got to do, right? You've got to get a job, you've got to pay your bills. But somehow, if I was going to advise anybody, I'd say, please don't put anything you love on hold. Don't ever say because you're chasing money or you're chasing, comfort, you're going to like put a part of you that you could build on hold. Don't ever do that. And it's something that I would advise anyone. I don't have any regrets, but I just feel like I would not have suffered as much as I did.
Absolutely.
If I had just, focused on one part. Some things that I did, I probably would not have, or some of the stress that I went through, probably would not have gone through it.
But thinking about it now, with you, with the generation we are in, obviously the Gen Z generation, I think they multitask a lot.
Yeah.
I think if we were...
Things have changed, yeah.
I think if we were still, let's take it back.
Yeah.
I think you could have still have continued writing and used that writing as like a push to be able to finish the petroleum engineering so that you can continue writing, like a hobby that would keep your mind sane.
I mean, I was still doing it, just not as much as I could have.
You could,
It was just more of a thing to fall back on when everything else is depressing me,
Yeah.
It was just more of a thing to, okay, at least there's something I can do without thinking too much. So let me do it.
Yeah.
When I'm struggling and my people are like not putting so much effort and making first class and all of that, I'm struggling to make it 2-1, So those kinds of things, it was just an unnecessary path to take
Yeah.
if we're going to put it that way. But I met a lot of awesome people, and I had so many great opportunities that have led me somehow to where I am now. So
yeah, I think for me, all the experiences, right from cleaning, being a cleaner till now, I think they've groomed me to be very strong at heart. A lot of people are like, oh, you're always on the go, you're on the go. I think it's from my background. My dad is due to retire, but he's still going.
yeah.
I admire my dad a lot. He's still going strong. My dad also is a chemist.
Okay.
He's really great with chemistry. But my dad at some point wanted to study law. But he's a food scientist.
But you wouldn't do badly in law yourself because you're very
Me,
good with, debates.
see, I can't. I just said to myself, I do not want to make rich people richer. Because me, I want to. I love advocacy,
Yeah.
but I don't want to do advocacy in law. I want to advocate for people who I know need it.
Okay.
So like advocating for people. So when I go for placement, you're there advocating for people who are sick. You want them to have the best possible care.
Yeah.
You want them to be seen. You want them to be heard. You want their needs to be met. You want to advocate that they have the necessary things that give them the normal activities they're able to do, the normal activities of daily living. That's what I wanted to do. And I think obviously having the mind that I wanted to do medicine, being in this career now, it gives me that feel like, well, I'm still
You're
there.
still close to it.
I'm
Yeah.
close to it.
Well, that's good for you because
So-
there's absolutely no part of me that wants to be close to that, And even, I studied engineering, but absolutely no part of me wanting to. I don't have any engineering bone in me. I'm sorry. No, I have the knowledge. I'm
Yeah.
grateful for the knowledge.
Yeah.
I have some of the skills, which I'm grateful for.
And they're not
but
wasted, to be honest. The
not-
knowledge and the
absolutely
skills
not.
are not wasted.
Yeah.
I feel like even with me, all the skills and knowledge I have gained right from when I arrived at this country have helped me to become the woman I am today, to become the person I am today.
Yeah.
It is pushed me quite a lot. And I come from a very strong family. My dad is a strong person. My mom was great at uni and doing her education. My mom was very academic. My dad is my auntie who stays in the US. She's such an academic person. When you speak to my auntie, she's just like, you need to push. So I come from a very strong family, and also from both my maternal and my paternal side of things. They're very career-minded people. Like my mom's side, they're full of engineers. My dad's side, they're more of medicine, healthcare.
Yeah.
So you have the best of both worlds in terms of career.
I'd say it's a Nigerian thing.
It's a Nigerian thing, absolutely.
It's absolutely a Nigerian
So-
thing. Where we're obsessed with education, we're
Yeah.
obsessed with degrees, we're obsessed with learning.
Yeah.
Which I don't think will ever stop. Yeah, the Gen Zs, this new generation, things are changing, and I keep
Everyone's
doing
TikTok now.
Yeah, they're doing everything. One thing I like about them is that they're doing everything and doing it perfectly well.
Yeah.
They're not held back by the thought of, I should only focus on this alone. Their minds are broad, and that's what we, the older generation, not too old, but older generation, are learning from them.
Yeah.
So if we're going to say one last thing in this chat, what would you advise people out there who, don't ever feel bad for trying different things. That's why we're alive. That's why we're in the world, to try as many things as we can and, just settle for the one that makes you happy. So what would you say is like an ideal career path? Like, how can you detect that? How do you feel as a person if you are in that path?
I feel like go for your strengths. Be able to identify your strengths and your weaknesses very early.
Yeah.
I think also one thing that I should have done growing up, I'm from a Catholic background. And I don't want to be controversial, but I feel like I really didn't know God as much as I do now.
Okay.
Because I can't take away God out of my path, my career path, because I feel like getting to where I am, I think I really asked him, what is his will for me? Like, I feel like this career I am now, I did pray a lot, and I ask God, you know what, if this is what you really want for me, make it happen, make me enjoy it, you know. Is this my, if this is my passion, show me. You know, I feel like people need to come to a position where you need some kind of, I want to say
Peace.
spiritual peace,
in what you're
guidance
doing.
in what you're doing. If it gives you some sort of inner peace, then absolutely go for it.
I mean, if
you go for convenience, you know, get to a point where you think, you know, what am I here for? What can I do? How can I serve? Basically, I think that's the question. I wanted to serve. How can I draw towards my strength? I wanted to be absolutely good at what I do. Which is currently what I am doing now, which is I am absolutely good at, you know, looking after people. So I would say advocating for people who are vulnerable, advocating people who are ill and sick, who need the best possible care. So I feel like go for what you feel gives you inner joy. Like, you know what? There's something people say, you know, if you're doing a job and you're happy to wake up, shower, go to that job, be absolutely happy about it, I think that's the right job for you. Because there's some people that, you know, they just want to stay, but that job can wait. They don't want to do it. But if you have a job that you wake up, you dress up, you look good, and you go for the job, then that's the job for you.
Absolutely. So as long as you have peace, as long as it's something that you do, and once you're doing it, it seems like sometimes the world just pauses and you're just in it and you're enjoying it. Then that's really the job for you. The job where you don't have to struggle to, you know, think about a Monday doesn't freak you out. You know, the end of the week just doesn't excite you so much that a Monday, a new week freaks you out. If you're not, I mean, being able to even do a job that you enjoy is a blessing. And it's something most people are also still praying for. And if you're doing a job that you have to do because you just have to do what you have to do, I'll encourage you to continue, but seek other things that, you know, you can do outside of it as a hobby, whatever, that just gives you that peace, that gives you that fulfillment. Or even if it's just your own side hustle, just something that gives you that happiness or that feeling of, oh, I have something that I can do that is mine, that I know that this is my thing. You know,
mix confidence and passion together and see which one works.
Absolutely. If you wake me up in the middle of the night and ask me about this thing,
I'll
I can
tell
you about it, and I'll tell you happily. You know, so that is just the job for you, the job that makes you thrive, that makes you happy, and I hope that everyone gets to that place somehow. Thank you so much for joining in and listening to us today on this topic. This topic is wide. I mean, if we wanted to go into some details or just share more of our experiences, we wouldn't contain it in just this one episode. So, but we will come back some other time with more of our experiences from being in boarding schools.
I think I was about to say that I really want to talk about my boarding school experience.
I'd like to talk about my boarding school experience.
Christ.
In fact, boarding school experiences in Nigeria.
Oh my goodness.
Is one to talk about.
I heard you can actually just roll out of bed, you can go on weekends.
Everything is, I mean, the experiences are different, but there are still some things that it's better experienced back home. You know, if you don't, you need to experience it to just experience some things in your life.
Shout out to Notre Dame. It was a great time. It was a great time, but
So thank you for listening. Please follow my page or follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and subscribe to my channel and click on the notification button. We will be back with more videos and it will be fun. It will be more discussions, more fun, more to chat about. Thank you. See ya.